Hey guys, this is Black Bolt. My name is Alan. Hope everybody's doing well and has had a fantastic weekend. As you can see, I'm in a new car. This is a 2019 Nissan Leaf S with the S charge package, which comes with a 240 volt charger, and it's supposed to also come with a 120 volt charger, but that wasn't included when I guess the car was taken to the dealership. This also comes with the S cold weather package, which gives me a heated steering wheel and heated front seats. So this video is just going to be my initial review of the car. When I officially bought it, it had 11,021 miles on the odometer, so it's a pretty new car, and the price that we paid for it was $19,864.54 out the door. So that's including taxes, registration, and everything, and it's actually $20 cheaper than the price that I agreed with the dealer, because there was a $125 delivery fee. We bought this car from Nissan of Rochester, which is a city southeast of the Twin Cities, and about 100 miles from my house, so they had somebody drive the car up to us, which is really nice. And so my initial impression of the vehicle, as you can see, I'm already at 11,203 miles, and part of that was the drive up for delivery, and part of that was my wife and I had our 10-year anniversary celebration this weekend, yesterday on Saturday. So I was doing a lot of driving around and helping get things organized and set up. So that's where those additional miles come from. So I was able to get an initial impression on the car, and so far I like what I see. Because this is the S trim, the materials aren't really that nice. There's a lot of it's not hard plastic, but it's not soft touch plastic either. This is the 40 kilowatt version. I've already driven probably 20 miles this morning, and as you can see, there's still 149 miles on the estimator, and 90% capacity. I charged it up to 100% overnight, and then this screen will just tell you how long it'll charge based on 6.6 kilowatt hours, 50 kilowatt hours, and I think the other one is 3.3 or something. 6.6 240 volt charger, so level 2, and then 50 kilowatt is level 3, and I'll try and see if I can get to one of those later today. This is the battery temperature. You don't want it to get into the red zone. I know some people say that we shouldn't get the Leaf because of battery degradation, but to address that right up front, these 2018 plus Nissan Leafs haven't really suffered from that same kind of degradation. The first reason is Nissan changed the battery chemistry on these cars even before the 2018 model to address the degradation. These cars are air cooled, so they don't have active battery management. And the other reason is that the software on this car will throttle the charge speed. So if you are doing a DC quick charging more than once in a day, it'll throttle it so that you don't get the temperature too high. So it has its ways of preventing you from abusing the battery. Then this is the battery capacity, and as you can see, this battery still has 100% of its capacity. I am going to be getting an OBD2 reader and Leaf Spy so I can see the exact number that it's at. And as you can see, in the short time that I have owned this car, I am averaging 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which is pretty good. That's about what I was averaging in the Bolt. You can see that since the car was delivered to us on Friday, I have driven 70.5 miles, averaging 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Currently driving in B mode, and I have E-pedal turned on. E-pedal is Nissan's version of one pedal driving, and I like it a lot. It works really well. It brings the car to a complete stop. It's not as strong as driving in L mode and using the paddle on the Chevy Bolt EV, but it's definitely better than what VW offers up for, well, VW doesn't have one pedal driving, but so this is just better. And so far, my initial impressions on the ride quality is really good. This car is very, very quiet. The seats are relatively comfortable. They're wide enough. I don't like the seating angle in this particular car, and I can't lift the bottom of the seat kind of upwards. So I have longer legs, so hopefully it'll be okay at the angle that they are at. And what I will actually do, I'm not sitting at my ideal angle right now because I'm recording a video, but normally I will have the seat raised to its maximum height so that there is some cushioning below my thigh area by my knee. These seats are pretty wide. They are more regular person seats than the seats in the Bolt, so I like them. And this particular car, because it's an S trim, seats are cloth. If we decide to keep this car for more than a year, then I will look into sourcing the leather seats from the SL trim and see if I can retrofit those into this car, because I do like having nice things like leather seats in my cars. The reason that we got this car was because of the super low mileage and the really good price. And as you guys know, prices on cars right now are just out of control. My wife and I both think it's a relatively good looking car. I also liked the look of the Bolt EV. I'm not going to say that this car is better looking, but it is a good looking car. But the initial driving impression is really good. This radio unfortunately does not have Android Auto or CarPlay, so I'm going to look and see if I can replace this with maybe a Pioneer or a JVC or a Sony head unit. The sound quality on this car is frankly not very good, so if you are into sound and you are interested in a Nissan Leaf, then you'll have to get the SL trim because that comes with an amplifier and better speakers. But those are things that you can add third party. And something else that I'm having to get used to is just having a regular mirror, and also these rear view mirrors to my side, they don't have the little yellow light that shows you if there's a car in your blind spot. So I'm definitely going to have to be more attentive to my blind spots on either side when I'm driving. So that's just something that I'll have to get used to, and it's just stuff that you have to deal with when you drive a lower trim car. But overall, driving impression is really good. The car does make a sound when it's at lower speeds, so pedestrians know that you are there and that you are coming and to stay out of your way. This radio has a CD player, which is really weird because, I don't know, do people still use CDs in cars or at all? If you still use a CD player, please drop a comment in the comment section. I'll just be interested in seeing how many of you actually use CD players. The steering wheel, it's not leather. It's a plastic that's not uncomfortable, but it's not particularly nice. Another thing that's interesting is this steering wheel will go up and down, but it won't telescope, so it won't move towards me, which me having long legs, I have to sit a little bit farther back than maybe somebody with regular size proportions. So those are my initial driving inspections. So those are my initial So those are my initial feelings about the driving quality of the car. So now let's take a look at the interior and the space in the trunk, and then we'll also pop open the front, the charging port, and the hood so you can take a look at that. Before we get into the interior, one more driving impression. Check this out. This car is quick. I mean quick. Much quicker than the ID4, and definitely from just driving, it's a much more fun drive than the ID4. So it's more comfortable than the Bolt, more fun than the ID4. It's a good mix. We'll see if 150 mile range 40 kilowatt hour battery is enough, but so far so good. And then as you can see, I am not driving in eco mode. Eco mode on, eco mode off. You can see the light right there underneath the B. On, off. I tried driving on eco mode all day yesterday. Well, not all day, just in the few miles that I was able to drive, and I did not enjoy driving in the eco mode. So that kind of validates not ordering an ID4 right away, because I guess I do like the fun driving aspect of owning an EV. But yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at the interior. And now let's take a look at the interior of the car. So there's the storage in the door. This is pretty small. You can only fit one cup-like thing in there. I like to keep my hand sanitizer in here. This is the heated steering wheel button. This button unlocks the charging section in the front, and I believe this button will lock the charge if you have your car plugged in, so some random passerby can't just come and snatch the cable off and stop you from charging. And then these control the brightness of the instrument cluster and trip reset button. So this car has an A and a B trip, so you can see 2 trip meters. There's our speedometer, and you get a lot of information in the screen, and I'll probably go through that later. You can see the e-pedal is on right now, and I figured out how to set it so that it's always on or off based on how you leave the car, so it restores. There's the radio, pretty cheap. A little bit more storage here. There's our center console. Armrest is pretty much useless. Even with as far back as I sit, I can't really rest my elbow on it while driving. And then this is pretty small storage area, so I just have a hat there for when winter comes and my registration. And then the other side, as you can see. And then those are the seats. And now as we enter the back of the car, you can see this is my driving position. There's a good amount of space up here, probably 3.5 inches or so. If we look up top, plenty of space for my head, and I'm about 5'9", 5'10". And then I don't really like this being in the car, but I'll never be sitting back here for very long, if at all. And then there are the rear seats, and the back seats, there's some storage there. So there's the cup holder, but then there's a cup holder on the other side, and that's pretty much it for storage back here. And then there's a overall look at the front of the car, and I like this interior. The surfaces, the steering wheel isn't a terrible surface to hold all day long or for an hour or so. A lot of the surfaces are hard, so it's not like it's a luxury experience, but it's not bad either. And then the shift knob, I've grown to like it. It's very smooth, it's very easy to use. So, and then let's go take a look at the trunk, and then we'll wrap up. So here's our trunk open button. The trunk of the 2019 Nissan Leaf is pretty big. You can probably fit a decent amount of suitcases, maybe 2, 3, 4 full-size suitcases back here. And then this is the EVSE, and it comes with a 240 volt EVSE. They charge like $1,600 for this. So you can see when it's out of the bag, I believe this is a 50 amp cable is what the Nissan dude told me, because I was looking for an adapter so I could convert this to a 120, but they don't sell the adapter separately, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to get one. Yeah, if you know how I can get my hand on one of those, please let me know. Otherwise, it's not something that Nissan sells separately. And then let's take a look at the exterior of the car. I've driven it for around 700 miles now, so it's a little bit dirty, and it's supposed to rain this weekend. So I will find some time to get it to a touch-free car wash at some point in the very near future. Then I also need to figure out how to take off those California clean air stickers. But I think it's a pretty good looking car. It's a 2019 CPO, bought it with 11,000 miles. So far, after a week, very happy with it. I'm actually getting 4.9 miles per kilowatt hour, and when I wake up in the morning, its estimated range is around 170 to 180, and I've been reliably driving to the point where I could probably drive it 165, 170 miles and be pretty comfortable without charging during the day. So it'll be interesting to see how it deals with Minnesota winter. That's the part that I'm looking forward to the most. And then finally, with the S Charge package, you get your normal 240 volt outlet and the CHAdeMO fast charge. And I have done one CHAdeMO charge, and it was charging around 44 kilowatts, which was pretty good, and I was only on the charger for about 10 minutes or so. One thing I don't like about this charge port already that I have noticed is you have to touch it constantly. So You can't see it, but lots of fingerprints on there already. And then the color of this car is super black. Not a huge fan of these wheels. They do make the car more efficient than the 17-inch wheels that come on the SVs and the SLs. But I'm thinking that maybe next spring, if we decide that we're going to keep this car for more than a year or two, I might get some gloss black wheels and then tint out the windows, and then it would be super black. And one other thing, the SLs come with a blue trim along the front. I'm going to see if that's something that I can add to the car just to make it look that touch bit better. But overall, it's been a very fun car to drive for the first week, and looking forward to providing more content around the Nissan Leaf, Chevy Bolt EV, and other EVs that are out in the market or coming out soon. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Have a good day.